Hello, Internet Nation. Alex and Ashley here with part 3 of uh, the the meaning of the temple art series. This should be the last part for after this there are no more. So I'm just gonna jump into it, and I figured the best way to do it would be to work my way down because I have covered head to toe, or not head to toe. That technically implies that everything is covered, but I have tattooed from my head to technically my ankles. So yeah, um, jumping into it. This isn't necessarily in any order because I do not remember the order. I just got my needles from my dad's house and then went crazy, like literally crazy. Like within the first week of having my needles, I did at least 11 tattoos on myself because I like tattoos and I can do tattoos and it's my body and I'll cry if I want to. Wait. So yeah, starting out, we have potentially my most obvious tattoo, and that is this one right here on my forehead. And I'm not gonna show a picture because reasons. But yeah, just a little dot on my forehead, and it's a little blurry because it's pretty hard to tattoo your own forehead, especially when you wear glasses and you can't really hold the mirror in a particular manner while holding the needle, and you're fucking nearsighted. So it's just like I can't see, and the mirror is in the way, and the needle. So yeah, basically, what this is it's two semicircles, or technically they're supposed to be two semicircles, but they're a little too close together, so you can't really see the line between them. But that's okay. I'm pretty sure one day I'm gonna go through and spruce them up a little bit. But yeah, the two semicircles represent the third eye. Originally, it was a circle, but then I decided to go with two semicircles. Kind of like Shin has. Well, Shin has two ovals on her forehead. In the typical Kaguya fashion. But these are well, hers are just like a mark of her clan, and mine is it's a representation of my third eye, as well as my unicorn horn. And well, not necessarily my unicorn horn, because technically if I had a unicorn horn, if my horn showed, it would be just slightly above it, just right here. So anyone who's seen my she actually doesn't have a name, but I've been drawing an alien quite a lot, as you can see there. Well, you can't see that one there. And then this sweater, which I can't show right now because the front of it is wet, or I suppose that's an excuse. But yeah, this chick right here. So as you can see, she has a third eye in the same location. And yeah, it's basically I started doing a dot on my forehead every day in eyeliner. I had like this fat pencil, and I would just take it, just plop it right there, and then twist it to get a good circle. And I decided one day that if I'm gonna do this every day, because I really like the way it looked, and I'm a huge fan of like tribal makeup and tribal everything, because I am an earth warrior and I come from the jungle, which is pretty ironic when you think about it, because I come from space, but I was made in the jungles of Earth, or in the jungles, period. But anyway, yeah, basically that's what it is. It's just a representation of my third eye, and it's two semicircles because it's not supposed to be an eye. It's like an eye opening, but also like an eye open. So yeah, moving down below that, I believe the next one would be this guy right here, my pomegranate. I don't know if I specified, but the tattoos I'm showing in this video are all tattoos I've done that I've personally done. I know I stated that in my last 3 videos, but if you're just tuning into this one, then you probably wouldn't know that. So yeah, I have this pomegranate which I worked on recently. I had done the pomegranate with the little circle right here, or the half of the yin yang sign before, and then I colored it in a few days ago. The pomegranate is a representation of fertility and something else. I know it's a representation of fertility, and it's also to represent the Greek goddess Persephone. I never say her name right. Persephone, the wife of Hades, basically, who is she's like the representation of springtime, because when she goes to hell, then we have winter because her mom is sad, and then when she comes out of hell, we have spring because her mom is happy, so she makes everything bloom and happiness, yay! So basically, in the story, Hades gives her a pomegranate, and she knows that if she consumes food in hell, she has to come back, basically. So she consumes this pomegranate because she has Stockholm Syndrome. And yeah, so I got a pomegranate to represent the Greek god as well as fertility, because as you're gonna see with all the tattoos I've done, it's a lot of fertility based ones, because fertility is really big for me. Ever since I was little, family was something that was really big and important for me. So I always knew that I wanted to like get married, have a family, have kids, raise kids. Like even now, if I could be a professional surrogate, then I would. So hint hint, if there's anybody out there looking for a surrogate, I am your gal, and I will make nothing but beautiful star children who are going to change the world and affect you with their high vibrations and energy. So if that's what you want, my womb is open for you. So basically, as you can see, the pomegranate itself, within it, it has the yang sign. It is yang, right? Yeah, I believe it's yang. Yeah, it's yang, or is it yin? It's the yang sign, the black part of the yin and yang, which basically is the feminine aspect of the yin and yang symbol, which technically I believe either one day I'm gonna get like a symbol for Hades, or I'm just gonna find a significant other that I plan on being with forever, and then he's gonna get the symbol for Hades as well as the yin to my yang. Now it's put in the pomegranate like this to represent like peeling the pomegranate, the flesh off the pomegranate, and exposing the seeds. Like if you look at it really close, then you can see that it's like not solid black. It's like a whole bunch of little dots. And that was a stylistic choice because it's not supposed to be solid black. It's to represent the seeds within the pomegranate. And I basically decided to go with just the yang sign as opposed to both yin and yang in the pomegranate to represent the feminine aspect of the balance. Just kind of like how in the last video I said that I combined Rava and Batu to represent the balance. This one is just to represent the feminine half, which generally whenever I come into people's lives, or whenever I'm in a place, like when I start working a new job, generally if it's not a set business, things will fall apart. If I come into a home or a lively situation, if I plant myself in a place and I'm there for an extended period of time, generally things that are not right will begin to fall apart, which causes chaos generally within those around me. And usually when I'm involved with people, the negative aspects of themselves will come to the surface so that they have to face it and then get past that. And there's just all kinds of chaos because I have a really hectic energy to lower I don't want to say lower life forms, just people with lower vibrations than my natural vibration. They just tend to react weird to my energy. So I got the symbol for yang to emphasize my femininity as well as the chaos that I tend to bring, the darkness that I make people go through, and all that other fun stuff that femininity represents. I really love my pomegranate and how it just sits on my shoulder. And sometimes it bugs me that it faces out, but I'm the one that did it, so what am I complaining for? But I also kind of like it. I was thinking about getting something over here, but technically, unless it was the yin sign, it would not make any sense. Well, who knows? I'm planning on getting Songbird over there, so I don't know if he's going to extend out onto the shoulder. This area right here, by the way, very painful. Like, it didn't hurt coloring it in, ironically, but when I was doing it, I was like, why am I subjecting myself to this torture? So, yeah. Next up, moving down, we have... What these next two are a little kind of on the same height, so I'm just going to do this with the one on my arm, since you can see that one, and the other one requires me to do some maneuvering with my shirt. So, yeah. These are three alchemy symbols. Technically there's supposed to be four. This is supposed to be the symbol for salt down here. And I totally forgot why I was going to put the symbol for salt. But I'm pretty sure it was meaningful. They don't necessarily say anything in this order. They're just, for one, this one right here is the symbol for alchemy itself. And I decided to get this one because I am an alchemist. Basically, I want to say an emotional alchemist, but I haven't mastered that craft yet. But energetically, I'm quite able to use my energy for things such as healing, calming others, and I do radiate an energy of love, unconditional love out to the world in my aura, and people tend to feel it when they are nearby. Like, I'm always hearing people say, oh my god, your energy is so amazing, it's so this, it's so that, and I just feel so at peace when I'm with you. And I'm like, yeah, that's the point. That's why I put that energy out there. I'm supposed to be a beacon for hope and love. Cuddles are my business. Comfort is my business. So, of course, that's just the energy that I give. So yeah, I got the symbol for alchemy because I am an alchemist, and it just basically serves as a reminder for, hey, you know how you're feeling really powerless right now? Well, you're a motherfucking alchemist. Remember that one book, The Alchemist, where he was like, hey, wind, turn me into you so that I may understand, so that I may prove my point and find my treasure. And the wind was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I always remember that scene because it's like he became the wind, and I'm just like, do you know how you become the wind? You vibrate your molecules, you vibrate your atoms, because everything is atoms. You're one with literally everything, whether you accept it or not. And we are connected to everything. The only thing, like, the thing that separates us is the thing that connects us. Like, there is no ending space. I am just as much me as I am you. I am this air around me. I am the wind. I can make the sun shine. I can move clouds. It rains when I'm sad. Like today, I was devastated, and you know what happened? Fucking thunderstorm. And the second I felt better, sunshine. I'm pretty sure I even caused a hurricane in fucking Florida because somebody I was upset at lives in Florida. Well, I wasn't upset at him. I was just upset relatively because of him, because of the situation regarding him. Therefore, I caused a hurricane in his hometown. I'm getting text messages, that's why I'm staring at the screen. So, yeah, I'm an alchemist, and this is my reminder that I can do great things. This one it's a diamond. It's a symbol for refracted light, and this one serves as a reminder that is what I am, light. I am a being of light. I am a being of refracted light. I give light, take light, am light, all that fun light jizz. And this one is antimony. Antimony? I just started saying that word, so I'm not entirely sure. It's Atimony, which is a type of metal, and I was just reading up on it, but I didn't get it because of the metal having any specific meaning. But I got this one, or I did this one, so to say, because of what it means. It's basically a reminder of the animalistic nature that exists inside of the human. So it's like a reminder to always connect to that, because as humans we see ourselves as like something extravagant and different, but we are basically animals. We just are animals that have mastered the aspect of speech, and basically, like, that doesn't even make us that different, because there are animals out there who know how to talk, like certain birds and certain birds. And the only thing that really separates the human race from the other animal races is the ego. Like, all the other animals are living in they're living in the now. They're living in the it, I guess. They're very present beings, and they go off of instinct and feeling. They do what feels good, they do what they want, they do what makes them happy. But we, because we have an ego, we have the desire to be liked, we have the desire to be happy, we have the desire to fit into society. So we pull ourselves out of ourselves to fit in with everybody else, not realizing that if we were just ourselves, none of that shit would even matter, because we would just be too busy being happy to give a shit. So this one is just a reminder to be connected to my animalistic nature. And for those of you who have been romantically involved with me, you know that I am rather connected to that, because as far as like mating and stuff like that goes, I'm very driven by pheromones. Like, if I don't like the way you smell, then I'm just gonna be repulsed by you, and it's possible to develop a distaste for the way somebody smells, and then it's just all aesthetics. Like, I don't like perfume and I don't like cologne, even if it's like a little bit. If I smell that shit, I will get completely turned off, and I'll just be like, oh no, you need to take that over there somewhere. Like, if you want to come to me smelling all funky, like just got out the gym, all sweaty and shit, then I'm just gonna be like, yes, ooh, bring that. I mean, make sure you're dry first, because I don't want all that wetness all over me, and then your dry sweat drying on my body, and I'm just like, no, thank you. But if you want to be all like, all funky, yes, bring it. I'm funky half the time anyway, because I don't wear deodorant, and I shower very little, because fuck that noise. So if you want to bring your funkiness to my funkiness, we can have a funk party and lots of this, basically. So going with that, I suppose, since I'm already on this arm, I'll stick on this arm. And mind you, there is nothing. Well, there's one thing over here, but I'll get to this when I get to this, and we're up to here now. This one I'm not going to take a picture of, because it would be pretty pointless, because there is no good way of capturing a good picture of this tattoo. So it's basically these vines. Can't turn my arm. So it's basically these vines, and they wrap around my arm. It starts from the rose that Mike did. And fun fact, under this rose you can still kind of see a red outline, because I originally had done this tattoo. Excuse me. I originally had tattooed this rose on my wrist. First I did it in white, but the white didn't take, so I did it in red. But then I wanted a whole bunch of detail that I wasn't capable of doing at the time, so I had him go over it and then do all this. So basically, it extends out from the bottom of the rose and then goes under the tags and then just wraps around the arm. And it goes from rose thorns, a vine with rose thorns on it, to a pink vine. And basically, starting backwards with it here, the pink vine represents spirit vines, yes, from Legend of Korra. because I have a very deep connection to spirits and the spirit realm and spirit world and all that fun stuff. And the spirit vine turns into the thorns to represent a transition. The thorny vine comes from the rose, and I believe vines represent fertility as well as something else. A lot of these tattoos represent fertility because I'm a very fertile being, and if I wasn't careful, I'd probably have like 6 babies by now. Because I'm pretty sure I got pregnant before, and we were using a condom. Like, that's how cursed I am. So, no accidents, fellas, because this body is a baby maker. In case you can't realize that from all these tattoos of fertility, but looking at them, you probably wouldn't even realize they meant fertility. But yes, it's a thorny rose that wraps around my wrist, kind of like a... I totally wrote something about this, but I can't check the blog now because I'm using this phone to record this video. But they wrap around my arm to represent something. Hold on, let me read the thing. I've returned. Did you miss me? Of course you did, because what's a second without me? So, yes, okay. So, I left out before. The vines represent femininity and strength. And they extend from the rose, which, as I said in the last video, represents my corrupted innocence, or what was my corrupted innocence. It extends out of that and wraps around my wrist to signify, it wraps around my wrist and then turns into spirit vines to represent my transition from a insecure child into a strong and mature avatar. Yes, all that fun stuff. I totally forgot about this one right here. So, yeah, that's basically it with the spirit vines. They're done in a crude nature, as most of my hand-poke tattoos are, which I should include that. All the other tattoos were done with the machine, but everything done by me was hand-poked. So it all looks kind of crude and messy, and for the most part it's meant to. Like, I've done some really fucking amazing line work on other people, but when it comes down to me, since the pain is too much, like, I can't take the pain that I am giving myself and then focus on doing an amazing job. Like, I've done lettering that's really good, and I'll get to that later, but at the same time, it's just like certain things are rather difficult, especially when you're doing your arm. Like, I pull the skin with my hand, but how do I do that when I'm tattooing my arm, you know? So anyway, that's what that means, and it's done in a crude manner to represent, like, all the ones that I do. They're very tribal, very brash, very what's the word I'm looking for? Very crude, just because they're all so tribal, and especially with the method that I do it. The next tattoo is basically my newest one, and it's a little quote. So as you can see, it says "Love me like you." It's the last line. Well, it's the last line so far from the song "Love Like You" by Rebecca Sugar that plays during the end credits of my absolute favorite show, Steven Universe. And I love that song, and originally I was gonna have the lines that stood out to me the most wrapped around on the vines, but that they didn't fit, so I just went with the one. And this line is rather... I love all the lines in that song, but I did "Love Me Like You" because, for one, it sums up the entire song pretty good, as well as serving as a... Like, generally, I see this line as... Well, to fully explain this, I would have to explain just the beauty that I see in the amazing creation that is Steven Universe. Just the show on a whole. Like, I am not sure how many times I've tweeted at Rebecca Sugar just saying thank you. Just thank you for this. Like, if you're a fan of the show, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. But simply the message, the meaning behind everything, just everything is amazing. I'll get into this a little bit more when I go over my hand tattoos, but just for one, the concept of fusion is something that hits really close to me. Like, I see fusion as kind of like a twin flame relationship, almost. I see Garnet as like the perfect twin flame relationship. She is, because obviously gems are they're genderless rocks, but clearly they're mostly feminine. But when it comes down to it, when it comes down to like Garnet, for example, Ruby and Sapphire, they complete each other. Sapphire is the feminine half and Ruby is the masculine half, even though they're both females. So obviously Ruby would play the masculine role, and they come together to form Garnet. And Garnet is basically like, she is a simplified version of, I believe it was Greek mythology, what man was before the gods saw them as a threat. So you know how they used to say how man and woman was one creature, 2 heads, 4 arms, 4 legs, something like that, and then they were split by the gods because they thought that they would be too powerful or something. So I see Garnet as like the perfect twin flame relationship, and I see fusion as the perfect, well, some fusions as the perfect twin flame relationship, like romantic fusions, like Garnet, Stevani, they're like the perfect twin flame relationships because it's the masculine and the feminine coming together to make technically a they, a them, an it being that exists as a relationship. And you can see clearly with Garnet and Stevani, they exist as they are the embodiment of the relationship between the 2 characters that make up the fusion, but at the same time, they are completely separate. So Garnet and Stevani are like the living embodiment of the 4 characters' love existing as is, and it's a conscious love. So I put love me like you because I believe the reason, well, sometimes I believe the reason that my twin flame and I split was because we both needed to learn how to love each other, well, love ourselves as much as we loved each other. Which, well, I don't know about him, but I certainly know that I needed to learn how to love myself as much as I loved him. Like, he's literally the only home I've had, and I would have gone far and beyond for him. And I just had all this faith and hope and love and patience and feelings for him that I could not offer myself at the time. So within him leaving, I realized that in order for me to be able to have the relationship, be able to have the polyfarm, the security that I needed within myself, I needed to love myself the way I loved him. So I put the quote, "Love me like you," as a reminder that I have to love me like I love him in order for me to be whole within myself. Which is why I'll get into this a little bit more later. But I've decided to expand on my vision of love. I've decided to start seeing myself as a fusion and coming at it like that. And I'll get into that more a little bit later with one of my knee tattoos. Next up, we have this one. Oh, can't see, I'll take a picture of it. So it says "Wake Up Alice," and that was I believe the first tattoo I ever did. on myself, and I did this one with a gun. That was a very long time ago, and it's very crude and kind of hard to read now, but that's okay. I did it in a moment in which I was upset, so it was kind of like an equivalent to cutting almost. And I did it in the heat of the moment because somebody had upset me, and I did it as a reminder to not forget, to like not get caught up in seeing people for not seeing the potential in people and just seeing who they are in the now. Like I suppose you can say I'm bad at reading people because I have a lot of bad people in my life, and I try to see the good in everybody. I try to believe that everybody can be good, but sometimes I just get caught up in that and then I get hurt because as a natural healer, I want to help people and I want to make sure that they're good and they're okay, and I want to do my best to get them through their roadblocks and help them see what's wrong and why they feel the way they do so they can get past it. But I would just get caught up in that and then get hurt. So I decided to get the tattoo that says Wake Up Alice as a reminder to bring myself back to reality and not get so caught up in people's craziness and fantasy, so to say. So yeah, I had to pause the video because my roommate came out of his room and he can be rather loud and distracting sometimes. So yeah, the next tattoo I have is Bill Cipher. Now I just want to start off by saying that this design is not my own. Technically it's not the same as the design the person made now because they had like a short hat on Bill. Short top hat. It was like right here. And in a previous video, I show myself extending the hat up to there because Bill's hat is rather long. And I looked at it and I was like, hey, that's not correct. Even though technically it's not correct anyway because Bill has like 3 layers. And as you can see from the picture, it's like spotty yellow. And it's like that because when I was doing the yellow wasn't really showing up and I was like bleeding internally, so I said, fuck this noise. But yeah, this image was originally designed by somebody on Facebook, and I am obsessed with Bill Cipher, which I don't know if you've noticed that, judging which, well, maybe not. I do plan on painting him on the back of my van, and I do use his image. I don't necessarily remember what I was saying, but I ran out of space, which if you guys, if you watch a lot of my videos and you realize that happens a lot. But I was talking about my Bill tattoo, and anybody that knows me knows I'm obsessed with Bill. Like, I use him on everything. He's going on the back of my van. I literally see him everywhere, and so yeah. And basically I enjoy drawing him on things. Like, I draw him on stuff. My roommate was like, hey, draw some random stuff on my leg, and I was like, oh, so Bill Cipher's gonna go right here. And I draw him on like everything. And the reason I have him right here on my wrist, and the reason he was my first hand poke tattoo, is because I enjoy Bill. I'm probably what one would consider a Bill cultist. And the reason I enjoy Bill is because he is a dreamscape demon from the first dimension. And that's really cool, to me at least. Just the simple fact that he is like the epitome of jackassery and chaos, and like he just has all this fun fucking shit up, and that's admirable because, you know, he does what he wants and he has a good time, and he is a chaos demon of epic proportions, and what's more fun than that? So I draw him on everything, and he is always watching, and he's not God. He's certainly a demon from the first dimension. And to what's not to love, because, you know, Cause he's Bill Cipher. This is a sign. I don't know if you can read it, but it says Cuddles and a Pickle. There's a pickle in his eye, and this is Bill Cipher. But not technically, because I'm pretty sure he's copywritten, and you can get sued for that. But technically, this is just a typical golden triangle with an eye. And this one only has 2 lines, therefore it is not the same, therefore Disney can't sue. Anyhoozle. Moving on to my next tattoo, which would be this guy right here. I'll take a picture of that because I had originally did this on my palm before, but palm tattoos don't necessarily stick as much as one would like them to. So I only had like this much of the tattoo left, and it was very, very light, and I'm looking to see how this one's gonna go. Technically, I was supposed to go away this weekend for like a week and just be on my getting pampered shit, but life happens, therefore that's not happening, therefore I have no excuse to not use this hand whatsoever, aside from being, like left-handed. But I am going to minimize doing things with this hand because I did do 2 tattoos on this hand recently, and I would like them to heal better than they did last time. I mean, I did one on this hand too, and I'll get into that in a second, but I'll basically take a picture of that. Actually, I think I'll take a picture of both of these because, as you can see, there is a red dot on this hand and a blue dot in this iris, and I'll get into that in just a second. And hopefully there's some nerds out there that are getting excited because they know where this is going. Oh yeah, the eye on my palm technically doesn't have that much significance. There used to be like 2 lines, one here and one here, kind of like under the eye, and it was more of a middle eye, but then I had to redo it, and I will actually put a picture of what it originally looked like so you guys can see the comparison between the new and the old. Now I can't tell you why the app insists on blurring that photo, but that is in fact the best photo I have of the image. Everything else, my hand is kind of like this, and or covered in paint, and or covered in sand. So it's a little bit different now. When I first did it, it was originally more, well, for one, it was a lot cleaner than it is now, as you can probably not see. Well, you can't really see, but the lines are a lot more choppy. And now this line isn't straight, so it's kind of curved, so now it's like a right eye, which is pretty funny and inaccurate. The eye doesn't necessarily have a significant meaning. I just think it looked cool, and I always kind of liked eye tattoos on palms. Now, I'm not going to get an eye on this hand, despite the fact I did put a pupil on this hand, or so to say a circle on this hand. And the eye is basically just a representation of the chakra point on my hand, which is where the pupil is, and it's also represented on this hand as well. And I know it's probably not good to tattoo chakra points, but at the same time, reality is what you make it. And if I choose to send healing energy to these parts and all body parts that have tattoos on them, because tattoos aren't necessarily good for your body, but at the end of the day, it's my body. I'm going to do with it what I want. And it's as simple as healing the body, because it's my temple, and technically the only part of it that necessarily matters is what's here, the soul. And you can do with your body as you please. I'm probably getting into a whole bunch of stuff people don't really know and or care about. But anyway, I enjoy having the eye on my hand as a focal point for my energy, and technically this is the hand I give energy with, I believe. It's the right hand that you give, left hand that you receive, and or the dominant hand that you receive, and the non-dominant hand in which you give. Technically, this is the hand that I receive energy with, and this is the hand that I give energy with. So I'll take in But technically, I do both. Usually, when I walk down the street, I touch all the trees and the plants and all what have you and absorb their energy. I give my energy and I share my energy. And I technically just touch whatever side the tree is on. So if I'm walking down the street and there's a tree on my left, I'll touch it with the left hand. If it's on the right, I'll touch it with my right hand. If it's like a really big tree, then I'll put both hands on it. But I just thought the eye looked cool. There's not necessarily any significance to the eye, and as you can tell from the picture, this eye is slightly different than the other eye. And the biggest thing that's different from this one than that one is the fact that this pupil is blue. And this pupil is, I decided to make this pupil blue and then add a red dot on this hand, which, as you can see, it didn't come out too bad because I'm left-handed. And I find it very difficult to draw right and what have you with my, well, just drawing right with my right hand, unless I'm like really high. But I managed to poke in a pretty good, a decent circle with my right hand. But if you haven't realized this by now, these dots are a representation of Garnet's gems. Technically they're both red because as Garnet, they're both red. But I decided to go with the original character colors, so red for Ruby and blue for Sapphire. And to be completely honest with you, I was hoping that Sapphire would be on the right hand side so I can have the red eye, but that's not how it is. Now technically, before the introduction of Sardonyx, Garnet was my favorite fusion. She's my favorite character. Sardonyx is my favorite fusion because she is just a fucking riot. She is ridiculous as shit, and I love everything about her, especially her laugh, and the fact that she looks like a bug, and she is so articulate. Also, she breaks the fourth wall and has her own fucking talk show, and I love everything about her. And she's probably gonna become my second favorite fusion. The second they introduce the Temple Gem fusion. Like, the Temple Gem fusion is my favorite thing design-wise. And I have a painting of her over there, and it is one of my favorite things about the show. And I'm desperately waiting for them to introduce that fusion, and I can't wait to see what her personality is like. But I decided to go with the two dots to represent my favorite fusion, my favorite Garnet, basically my favorite character. Not my favorite character. Favorite. It's hard to describe. I love everybody. I don't necessarily have a favorite, but I do enjoy everything about Garnet and everything that she stands for as a being and just everything that her existence stands for. So to amplify the living as a fusion, I suppose I got the two representations of Garnet on my palms to represent being a fusion. And technically, if you want to be specific about it, you can technically go for being a Sardonyx fusion, because I do have the dot on my forehead, which is where Pearl's gem is. But yeah, it's basically a reminder of the twin flame connection, being a fusion, as well as my love for Garnet and the show. I have a lot of Alice in Wonderland themed tattoos, and I'm probably going to have a lot of Avatar tattoos at the end of my tattoo journey. Legend of Korra, and probably maybe a few Last Airbender. But I have a very deep connection to Korra. She's like my spirit animal. I don't know why I didn't say that in video 2.5, because Korra actually, she's like the embodiment of my spirit animal, and I thoroughly enjoy everything. I enjoy her journey, and it really hits home because not only do they show her